Hello everybody, and welcome back to the range. Tom here, and today we're doing a 1976 Greenwood Corvette. This challenge was put out to me on YouTube, and the theme is going to be time machine. So I'm really stoked about this one, so why don't we head on down to the range and let's get started. Now, when this challenge was put out to me, I knew I had this casting somewhere around. It was just hiding. But when it was told time machine, and yeah, I'm a little early on the due date, but that's okay. I just want to get it out there and show y'all what I can come up with, just random parts that I've used from other vehicles and stuff like that. Of course, we're going to drill out the post. I only really tapped the front post because I didn't need the rear post because I wasn't going to use it, and you'll see why here in a little bit. When the challenge was put out to me, and I'm like one person that will never back down from a challenge. Somebody throws one at me, I'll do my best to put it out there. I was really happy with this one. With the whole theme behind it and the whole, idea. So, it just made me, want to do as much as I could do with this and actually make it close to. And see, that's the thing is, making a time machine, you can make it however you want. You don't have to go like DeLorean from the Back to the Future. I used this casting, I don't remember what the name of it was, but I took the engine pieces off the back and took the part off the front, and I'm going to incorporate these into the build. Because, when I got the time machine, I was like, what, I started looking, I had this sucker sitting on my desk, and I'm like, what, I'm going to use those. Because I was going to use them for something else, but I decided that I was going to use them for this piece. They're all metal, so it didn't have a problem with it. I didn't have to worry about much of anything. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in the back. I'm going to cut out the trunk and go from there. And then the front portion of it, I'm going to be putting it on the front of the Corvette. And what's funny, though, is this car, the casting I took this from, kind of looks like a Batmobile in some ways. But the 89 Batmobile, I believe they said it was on a Corvette chassis. It was the original Corvette, or it was the original Batmobile. But it's not that big of a deal. So, I went ahead and took the piece, started trimming it to size how I was going to want it. And this whole time I'm thinking of what all I can do to it to make it look like a time machine. I wanted something to, be up front where everything was kind of connected by hoses and wires and, that kind of stuff going from the front to the back to where it kind of would incorporate, it working together. And, this was an extremely fun build. It really was. Kind of had a thought of how I was going to do it, what I was going to do to it, what color I was going to paint was kind of still up in the air because I had to find wheels that would go well with it, that would, weren't too big or weren't too small, because I didn't really feel like, wallowing out the wheel wells or doing any, unnecessary cutting or anything like that, because the parts I was going to cut the little scoop out of the front here, and I ended up cutting out most of the trunk area and filing it down, and you'll see that here in a few minutes. I'm going to be posting or tapping the post, or tapping my little punch. There we go, my little punch, where I'm going to be drilling some holes to start doing the cutting. And yeah, I'm doing it before I started stripping it because I wanted to get an idea of how everything was going to set and go from there. It didn't take long for this to come out of the stripper, which was a plus. I'm trying to find a drill bit that's not too big but not too small, so I'm not like going crazy on the back. It's so much easier to cut when you start off with some smaller size holes, because you can get it lined up easier. That's just my opinion. The smaller the better, but you got to make sure your jeweler saw blade will fit in the hole. And I need to get me some smaller jeweler size blades because I've used all of them up. I'm going to probably order some probably sometime, hopefully in the near future, getting me some new blades. And it took a while to cut out, it really did, but all in all, the lines are pretty straight. I did pretty good on them. I didn't have to file a lot on most of it, but just I had to widen it out on the sides to make it to where those engines would fit in it. And all in all, like, it was pretty easy. It was pretty simple, I didn't do any really crazy paint job on it. I just painted it one color, and I didn't do any two-tones. But the wheels, I wanted to make sure the wheels matched the paint job, or what I did was I did the paint job match the wheels. So I picked the wheels first before I decided a paint job, because I was still kind of up in the air of what I was going to do for paint. But before I ended up doing that, I was, kind of trimming up these engine pieces, kind of taking my Dremel, cutting them down to size, filing, kind of making it to where it would fit into the actual back without having to do a lot of, really serious cutting. And all in all, it went well. It really did. I kind of got it to where it set right down in there. I ended up trimming a little bit more off the bottom of the engine parts so it would fit with the base on it. And, it didn't take long. I actually honestly just started this yesterday or the day before. I can't remember. No, it wasn't yesterday. It was the day before. Because I was still kind of contemplating on what all I wanted to do to it. And, because I knew somewhat of what I wanted to do. But other than that, it was kind of, once I had it stripped down and, took my steel wool over it, cleaned it up a little bit, I started being able to get a better idea of what all I was going to do to it and how I was going to do it. And, I pre-drilled some holes in the side of that engine portion of it for the front. Because I was going to put some, some hoses or some cables or something like that to come out the side. And, I was going to make it go over top of the roof because I had a piece that I already self-drilled holes in. And I was going to attach them that way. But, about halfway through, trying to figure that out, I was like, you know what? I'll just change it up. I'm going to do it differently. I'm going to, just probably make them go a different route. And right now, I'm cutting out the front, scoop louver, the little raised portion. I don't know if it's a scoop or whatever it is, but I ended up cutting it to the far enough to where I didn't cut through the front post, because I was going to use that again to actually connect it to the base. And I'm using the windscreen portion of it. I'm not cutting that off or nothing, because I'm going to use that to set this engine portion on the front of it. Get it fitted just right. I had to file a little bit just to get it, and had to trim the engine piece a little bit. And it's, like I said, it's starting to look a little bit like the Batmobile from the '89 movie. I built made a little cover to go over the back trunk lid area to cover up the gap that was there after I cut it off. And honestly, I think that was a good thing to do. It gave me something to put things on afterwards. I'm talking about make hoses run through it and all that jive, and just to go from there to actually where I had places to put parts. And I thought about actually originally just cutting portion of the trunk out just to make it look like the engine was coming out of the trunk, but I was like, yeah, that was just too complicated for me. So that's why I went ahead and did this little platform. And, right now, I'm kind of trying to figure out exactly what the width I'm going to be needing. So that's why I'm filing down this, plastic portion of the front engine. And the good thing is, with it being black, I didn't have to put it in any of the oven cleaner to clean off any chrome or nothing. I kind of did my own little paint job to it later on. I don't remember the colors that I used, but I know one was chrome and the other one was like a goldish color or something like that I put on for like the hoses, and it gave it kind of an old rusty look, like it was just put together back in 76 and it's just now getting out of use. And I went with a pretty clean paint job. There was really not that many areas where I could like highlight chrome like any door handles, because there was none. And right now I'm just trying to, like I said, I spent most of my time just trying to get an idea of how I wanted to go about this, how I was going to attach certain things, and what I wanted to do. So, I'm kind of going ahead and gluing on the engine portion to the back of the car to get it set in place so I can just start sanding down and smoothing out where I needed to do it at. And when this challenge was put out to me, I didn't care what the kind of car it was. I just wanted to make sure I had it. And the theme, like, honestly, I go any theme. I'll do any theme, being a time machine, I hope I did the theme proud, because like I said, this is my first time doing a time machine. So I was just kind of trying to get ideas from the Back to the Future setup, but I wanted it to have my own kind of look to it. And honestly, this would have been a cool car to have an engine to. So I'm going to try to find one of these, those castings again, and make another car for another build, like an actual, like a drag race, jet engine drag racer or something. I don't know yet. Still kind of up in the air what all I'm going to do. So I got this little round styrene, and, I'm going over and I'm testing the fit of the hoses, and this is where I'm kind of debating if I go over the top of the roof or if I want to, what all I want to do to it, honestly. But I ended up not doing the styrene on both sides. I ended up going 2 on one side and just running some like wire, some little makeshift wires, and going from there. And this piece is what I'm putting on for the front. It's going to be like a converter or something like that. Like the wires will bring in the electric or the energy from the front portion of the motor. It's going to go through this little piece and go down to the jet engines or the time machine engines or whatever, and kind of get wired up that way. But it was what I was trying to do. It was just really difficult trying to get the right angles and the right length, and trying to do what I could to make it actually go together. Because I went ahead and drilled some holes already into the engine pieces where these styrene things will go into, and just kind of sit in there to have somewhere to glue to. And I'm cutting these ones down to size to where when I attach the top portion and going from there. And here's what I decided to do. I decided to take some styrene and put it in the little front portion of this, and I used the shape of the car, the body shape, to actually bend the styrene down to the side where I wanted it to go. And I ended up going 2 on one side, like I said earlier, and I formed it to the side of the car, and to make it where it was like there. And I really like how that turned out. That turned out pretty good. And I put some open styrene in there, because that's where I was going to be running the tubes through, and attaching them to that piece to make it look like it's portion of the car. It's like running something or whatever. I don't know what parts are names or anything like that for any time machines. And, all in all, I think it went together really good. Everything went fine. I'm getting ready to make a part for the back that's going to sit in the center, kind of like on the Back to the Future, where it's got that tube on the back of the car where he starts throwing garbage in and stuff like that. I think that's kind of what I'm doing, but it's going to have wires sticking out of it. And, I started off with sandpaper. I don't know what grit. I'm kind of running low on paper, so I need to get some more sandpaper. But I wanted it to actually get to where, it kind of would form. It formed with the vehicle. It formed with the car, the area it was at. And, it just, sometimes it's just really hard to make parts for. Because certain parts, like with certain builds, you can't just go order certain things off the internet. For these castings, they're just really small castings. And, I get a lot of people going, I don't know how you have so much patience with those little Hot Wheels. And it surprises me too, because, I figured the bigger the model, the better, but no, I actually do better with these little small diecast 1/64 scales. My dad does the 1/24 plastic models. I do these. And I did a couple for my dad for one day, and he's like, how do you put so much detail into these little bitty cars when I don't even put that much detail into my 1/24 scales? I was like, honestly, Dad, it's just under the tools that I get. It's just the type of tools that I get. And, I'm kind of glad that, I got these tools. I can do so much, and eventually I'm going to be doing another junkyard build. I don't know what. My next video is going to be my 4 horseman build. Maybe try to knock out one prior to that, because I already got the 4 horseman build ready to go. I just got to do a voiceover for it, and then all that's done. But I wanted to get this one knocked out of the way real quick and get it going, get it set up to where I wanted it, and, pretty much just get it done, honestly, because it's case worthy. I just got to get some more cases so I can put that one in. And I got a mail call in earlier today, and I'm going to go do a video on that and post it later. So there'll be like a little short range time mail call is what I'm going to call it. And because it's the first entry to the Monster Jam Challenge. And I'll announce who number 1 is for the list. So, we ain't got much time left. We got about a little over a month, barely over a month left till the challenge begins. So, if you guys are interested, and I'm going to put my email in the descriptions so you can get my address that way. Or if you got me on Instagram, send me a message saying, hey, I need your address for the Monster Jam Challenge. Do that. But if you want to be a part of it, still got time. The actual event's going to be starting on June 5th. So, if you got those monster trucks ready to go, feel free, get them out there and send them my way, and we'll get started on them. Because I'm going to be making the coins for the challenge coming up soon. But this is what we started off with. Pretty nice little 76 Greenwood Corvette. There's only 5 of these actually wide-body Corvettes made in the entire world. I was actually doing some research by the Greenwood brothers, I think is who they were. Awesome looking casting. Really cool looking car. So, without further ado, let's check out the final results. and I'll see you next time at the range.